All right, what is going on, everyone? Brian here with another recap video. This one for this week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. Once again, at the Performance Center, SmackDown took place tonight. Looks like this is going to be for quite some time. Of course, in the news, with WrestleMania being announced as now a two-night event, there is now reports going around that of a possible filming from multiple locations for WrestleMania this year. And of course now, also there was rumors going around that WrestleMania might be taped this year. Of course, nothing has been confirmed. A lot of the dirt sheets, a lot of wrestling websites, I believe there was two of them that said about that this could be a possibility of WrestleMania being taped this year because there will be no fans, no audience. So it is what it is. Um, in my opinion, I'm still probably like a bunch like everybody else thinking that maybe WrestleMania should be postponed this year until another date. But WWE is still wanting to run WrestleMania. They're making it a two-night event starting April 4th on a Saturday and Sunday, April 5th. So it is what it is. Also in the news, they announced on SmackDown tonight that starting this Sunday and running for the next 3 Sundays before WrestleMania, they're going to be showing on ESPN a encore of different WrestleManias, starting with WrestleMania 30 coming up this Sunday, where, of course, WrestleMania 30 happened in 2014. Of course, that was the night everybody remembers as the night that Daniel Bryan became the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. John Cena defeated Bray Wyatt on that show. And of course, everybody remembers that is the night that the streak of The Undertaker's WrestleMania undefeated streak was defeated by the Beast incarnate Brock Lesnar. And you'll be able to relive all those moments this Sunday on the encore of WrestleMania 30 on ESPN. So let's get into SmackDown. Once again, was the same thing like this past Monday's Raw and last week's SmackDown. A lot of promos, maybe think 2 matches. They showed the entire match of John Cena versus Bray Wyatt from WrestleMania 30. Of course, this year at WrestleMania 36, John Cena will take on The Fiend. And the match that happened at WrestleMania 30 was what Bray Wyatt said was the night that his career went downhill. And they showed that matchup. We started off with the host of this year's WrestleMania, Rob Gronkowski, who came out. He was introduced by his good friend Mojo Rawley. He started talking about being at every WrestleMania, being at certain WrestleManias in front of so many thousands of people, and that this year he's going to be at WrestleMania with 0 people there in attendance. And here comes King Corbin to interrupt. He starts talking, about Gronkowski. Elias comes out, sings a song about King Corbin. Basically, just turned into Corbin getting made a fool of by Gronkowski, pushing him over, and Mojo Rawley kind of like tripping King Corbin when Gronkowski pushed Corbin And then when Corbin got into Gronkowski's face, Elias came in and threw him out the ring. Then Gronk made a bit of an offer that he wants to see King Corbin versus Elias at WrestleMania. So we'll have to wait and see if that match becomes official. They didn't announce anything on tonight's show, so who knows if that match is going to be made official. We had a tag team match that came off of what happened last week. Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan took on Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro. Of course, last week, after Daniel Bryan defeated Cesaro, Gulak kind of got beat up by Nakamura, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn. I like the pairing of Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan. I think somehow, for some reason, that it actually works well between these two guys. They picked up the win when Daniel Bryan nailed a sunset flip from the middle rope on Cesaro and pinned him 1, 2, 3. And that was pretty much it for that. Then in a backstage segment a little after the match, Sami Zayn taunted Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. And Daniel Bryan said, well, why don't you put your money where your mouth is, Sami, and give me an opportunity at the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. Sami then countered with, okay, fine, I'll give you a shot. That's if you believe so much in Drew Gulak, then Gulak has to beat Nakamura next week in order for Daniel Bryan to get the Intercontinental title shot at WrestleMania against Sami Zayn. So that is a big match with some big stakes coming up next week on SmackDown. We heard from former Divas champion, women's champion Paige. She was in the middle of talking when the SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley and Sasha Banks came out and interrupted. They started talking trash about Paige. Then Paige dropped a bombshell that she talked to her friends at Fox, and they gave her the right to make a match for the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania. So it started out first, Paige announcing Bayley defending her championship against Lacey Evans. Then it turned into Bayley, Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke. Then Bayley, Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke. I believe Tamina was added. Then it turned into where Paige basically made official for WrestleMania a 6-pack elimination match for the SmackDown Women's Championship, where it will be Bayley defending her championship against Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke, Tamina, Naomi, and of all people, and a surprise to Bayley, Sasha Banks. So that is a huge championship match set for WrestleMania for the SmackDown Women's Division and Women's Championship. Like I said before, they showed the match between John Cena and Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 30 from 2014. That was the match that Bray Wyatt told John Cena last week that was the match that sent his career downhill. We heard from Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, who have been calling out the Kabuki Warriors, the current women's tag team champions. And Alexa Bliss talked about what happened last week, where Asuka attacked her during her tag match with Nikki Cross against Sasha and Bayley. And she basically issued an open invitation that, listen, Asuka, I challenge you to a match on SmackDown next week. So it is official. It will be Alexa Bliss facing one half of the women's tag team champions, Asuka, next week on SmackDown. We saw the return of the Dirt Sheet. with The Miz and John Morrison. Of course, they are the current SmackDown Tag Team Champions. They talked about, or they asked who the people want to see become number one contenders for their championships at WrestleMania. They then panned out to, I believe it was probably taped, of Miz and Morrison dressed up as the Usos, dressed up in New Day gear, and they were dressed up in bacon costumes, kind of referencing heavy machinery, and all of them, they basically was like saying that each team should be considered number one contenders. Then Heavy Machinery came out. This led to a tag match. Miz and John Morrison won via disqualification when Otis beat both of them down with the steel chair after Dolph Ziggler, who came out during the match, started taunting Otis with pictures of him and Mandy Rose spending time together and everything. Of course, that's one of the big storylines, and one of the storylines that people have seemed to be getting into with Otis, Dolph Ziggler, and Mandy Rose. And that made Otis snap. He beat down Miz and John Morrison with a steel chair to cause the disqualification. They announced then that next week it will be the New Day versus the Usos, and the winner, the team that wins, will become the number one contenders for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships and will face the Miz and John Morrison at WrestleMania for those championships. And then, of course, we had the Universal title contract signing between the current Universal Champion Goldberg and Roman Reigns. Basically, this was like a Goldberg said something, Roman Reigns said something. Goldberg said Roman's going to be the next victim. Roman said that when he came out, he meant that he was next, and that Goldberg won the Universal Championship even though he didn't deserve it. All this stuff. They signed the contract, and then to end SmackDown, they went face to face. So that was pretty much it for SmackDown. So pretty much the same thing that's been going on the last two episodes, Raw of Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown from last week. Nothing really special. I mean, it was what it was. So pretty much that's it. That's it for the recap. As always, I am Brian, and thank you for watching.